Hi, it's me again with CorelDraw tips and tricks. Part two, I wasn't going to do a part two, but I mentioned in that part one that I would use Cuttle for doing this or any other box program, but whoever did this probably didn't do that. So I had somebody ask me, then had somebody ask me about Cuttle. And Cuttle is it's not a totally free site, but this one is free. So all I did is go in here and change the dimensions to the width is 4, the depth is 9, which is the length really. The height is 4, 1/8 inch plywood, and I go download an SVG and say download. Then I go to see where it is, or go to the right click on it on mine and show in folder. It's going to put it in the download, which has a lot. So I'm going to put it in on the desktop, so it's easy to find. So if you look, it's open box with finger joints. Then I'm going to go back to Corel, and I'm going to right click, and I'm going to import it, and I'm going to go to desktop. And if you have yours set up where it's the first one, but I'm just going to type in open and open box with finger joints and go import. Now you have to do a little bit of work with this. First of all, it's one group. So what I'm going to do to go to object and group and ungroup, I don't want these back, front, let me ungroup it again. I don't want this marking. You don't need it. It's pretty self-explanatory. You got 2 links on the bottom. And then you can take this and make sure you turn it into, well, you can select them all, turn them into a hairline. I hit another button. Turn it into a hairline so it'll cut. I always do in red. And then if you watch part one, I'll show you how to do that. Where we manipulated the part for the handle. So that's the first question I had asked. The second question was how you would design this if you didn't use Cuttle or another box program like Boxit. Really easy. If you just think about a few things, we're gonna make it with my ratio unlocked. I'm gonna make it 9 inches long and 4 inches tall. So that is going to be the bottom and the 2 sides. But I'm going to manipulate it first now. Now, instead of redrawing this, I'm going to just use this same one. And I'm going to go from right there to right there. Well, no, I take it back. I don't want to do that. I want to go on the outside. So I'm going to go there and there and there. And then there and there and there. Just make sure you're on now in this one, we'll probably have to go on the inside. It'll make it a little bit shorter, but it won't really matter. Now, there's 2 ways you could look at something like this. The easiest way is take your virtual segment delete key and delete these nubs. And then you've got the outside shape. We're going to select all this and move it over. I'm going to take a rectangle and make a rectangle. I'm going to take the Smart Fill tool and fill it in, and then that's going to give me that shape. So if I move that over, take the Smart Fill tool and fill in that shape, there's my new shape. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all this. You don't have to hit calculator, hit delete. And I'm going to move this over. Now, of course, it didn't put in the X for the handle, but you can revert back to the first one and it'll do that. Now, it is a hairline. I'm going to mirror it the other direction. Now, we need to see if we still got the same size, and you can see it's 4.06. I'm going to go ahead and change that to 4 by 9. Well, I'm not going to change the height because this is 4. So this is going to fit right there. Matter of fact, it's going to be a little bit taller than mine. So I can either, let's just get this down here. I can either change this one, and I think I'll do that, or you could actually change this one. Let's change this one. So grab that, grab your shape tool, holding down your control button, and just, I thought I had them both selected. Hold down your control. Well, maybe the control is taken away. Nope. Why is it not moving the other one? So if you want them both the same, what I would do now, let's set our nudge factor on like 1/4 of an inch, 0.25. Get the shape tool, and let's just nudge that node up a little bit. Get it above our box. So now we're good with that. We don't really need this right now. So what I want to do is this box is going to fit, so we will have to change the inside. So what I'm going to do, we're using, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to the center of the page. I'm going to hit P. We're using 1/8 inch plywood. So I'm going to draw a rectangle that is, with my ratio unlocked, I'm going to make it 0.125 by a 1/2 inch, 0.5. Now I'm going to make a duplicate of that because I want to keep that forever and ever. And I am going to, you know what, hit P to put it in the center of the page. Nah, probably didn't have to do that. Let's, we want this on the outside. So what we're going to do is just ballpark it right there. And we're going to, our nudge factor is still set on a 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to bring that in a 1/4 of an inch. Then I'm going to hit the plus key on the keyboard. Bring that to there, bring it up a 1/4 of an inch. And you can see now I've got my, this is going to be my side. So to get those exactly the same, what I'm going to do is take the Smart Fill tool and fill that in. And then I'm going to move it out of the way. I'm going to get rid of this one. I'm going to hit P, put that in the center of the page. I'm going to left click, right click, and then I'm going to mirror it, Control D, and I'm going to mirror it sideways. And you see what it did. So what I'm going to do now is just move this one to that node. And there we go. There's our side. Now, you could either do two things. You can cut this away. You'll still have to use the Smart Fill tool because we do have 2 layers, or I could have done the same thing to the outside. So there's our, which is going to be our side. And then I'm going to left click, right click, and I'm going to keep that because we're going to need it later. Now, if we're going to make this our side, we need 2 of them. So I'm just going to hit the plus key, and there's the other side. And really the same thing for the bottom. Let's bring this into the center of the page. And let's see if this doesn't fit. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. I actually think it would be better not to have it exactly on the corner, but the one I'm doing. So you could make this thinner and have it come more, well, we actually are. So I'm going to make this the bottom. So, and if you look in the picture, the tabs are not exactly on the bottom. And there's actually a program that'll do this. So what we're going to do now, we're going to take our example and rotate it 90 degrees. And I'm going to put it right on top of that other one. Got to zoom in, I'm not there. It's always the last thing you select. And let's move it up a 1/4 of an inch. You know what, that might be a little bit too much. Let's back it up and let's make it just like 0.125. And let's move it up. Now you can see I got more than I needed. So that'll work perfectly good there. Now I'm going to hit the plus key on the keyboard, and I'm actually going to move it over. And it worked out perfect. So now this is our bottom. This is our side, if you see. So that's going to be our holes. So this is going to be our bottom. We're going to change our top to fit You know what? It'll fit in there. So let's do the same thing. I still got a copy of this. I can hit the plus key on the keyboard, mirror it back to 0, and let's put it a little taller. We're going to need 2 of these. And let's put it there and then here. So this is going to be, this is going to be the side. So that really isn't going to work. Yes, it will. It'll work perfectly, I think. So we want to put another one near the top. So I'm just going to hit the plus key and just bring it up, because we're going to have to do the sides a little bit different. You know what? If we make them the same, wow, it'll work. That'll be the same. And you can see that this is off the edge. And really, you'd want it off the edge. You'd want a little gap. So the other piece of plywood is going to be, well, I'm a little bit confused. Well, this is going to be the width of the plywood. So we actually need to move this up a little bit. So what I can do is select the whole thing. And let's change our nudge factor to 0.05. And let's just nudge it up a little bit. Because I would want a little bit of gap at the bottom. You don't have to have that. We could make it right there. Let's bring in an indexing line. So they're gonna match on the bottom or be pretty close. Now what I'm gonna do is select it all, but don't select that other one, and move this out of the way a couple of times. And if you remember, these aren't the same. So what I'm going to do what we did before. I'm going to just, what I can do? Well, let's see how close it is. Let's take the Smart Fill tool, fill that in. Let's left click, right click, and let's make a duplicate or hit the plus key, and let's mirror it the other way. So it's identical. So it doesn't really matter if it's the bottom or the top. So there's the 3 pieces. Now we need to bring this back in to do our tabs. So let's bring this back. Let's change it back to that 0.125. And let's bring it back over to where it was. Now you can see that I did not smart fill that, so that doesn't really matter. I must have moved it so like 0.01. Whoop. Grab all these, but make sure you don't grab that other. And I'm just going to move that to that line. Now what I want to do is, since I haven't smart filled that, I can use that as a copy. Go back to 0. And then put this in. You don't want to stretch it. You want the 4-sided cross. And then, if you remember, we moved it in 0.125. I'm going to grab it. I'm coming off the edge. Grab it. Now I can hit the plus key, and it should match right up with that. Very good. So there's this is your, we need one more set on the other side. So instead of smart filling for a second, I'm just going to group it, Control G. I'm going to Control D and mirror it the other way, and that put my tabs on the other side. Now, for sure, you want to smart fill that, because that's going to put everything together. And then I would delete all this, and you can see why I smart filled it, because that way it'll get rid of all that. And then left click, right click, and there's your pieces. So I'm going to get rid of this because can't remember what it does. So really, you can actually, if you mess up, you could always just make a new copy of the one that's right. And those 3 pieces will fit in there. And then if you didn't see how we did this and this? Just revert back to part one that was just yesterday. So that'll give you a box that's going to be more like this. It's going to be, you can see it's off. The only thing that probably need to double check is let's move these out of the way. We might want to manipulate our box a little bit to get that, even though it really won't matter. I think it's going to be perfect. So we're going to put that there. So we need to manipulate this up again, like we did at the first of the video. So grab the shape tool, grab that node and just pop it up a couple of times. And let's pop it up twice. I'm just nudging. So that way that'll be above the sides. So that's what it's going to look like. So that piece is going to go there. This piece is going to go here. And then this piece is going to be the bottom. And we'll rotate that 90 degrees. Of course, you need to make your handle slot, but I won't go over that again. Just watch part one. Anyway, I hope that helped both those people a little bit. Thank you for watching.